The silence in Rumi's living room was deafening. Zoey sat frozen on the couch, hands covering her mouth, eyes wide with shock. Mira paced like a caged predator, her sharp mind clearly calculating every possible angle, every potential consequence. And by the window, Jinu stood perfectly still, that same dangerous stillness he'd had as a demon, the kind that made people instinctively step back. Rumi had just told them everything. Now she waited for the fallout. Mira stopped pacing abruptly, her eyes locking onto Rumi with an intensity that would have made most people flinch. "Let me get this straight," she said, her voice deadly calm. "You performed a forbidden resurrection spell, banned for centuries, brought a dead demon back to life, and have been hiding him in your apartment for over a week." When she put it like that, it sounded really bad. "Yes," Rumi admitted quietly. The explosion came from an unexpected source. Zoey shot to her feet, all theatrical horror replaced by genuine fury. "Are you insane?" Her voice cracked with emotion, tears already forming. "Rumi, do you have any idea what the council will do to you? They could strip your hunter status, imprison you, execute you both." "I know all of that," Rumi shot back, her own frustration boiling over. "But I couldn't just leave him dead. He sacrificed everything for us, for the entire world, and I had the power to bring him back, so I did. You can't just break every rule because you're in love with someone." Zoe's voice cracked, tears spilling over. The room went completely silent. Rumi felt her face burn. She hadn't said those words out loud yet, but apparently she didn't have to. "It's written all over your face," Zoey said, softer now but still hurt. "Both of your faces." Rumi glanced at Jinu. His expression had shifted. No longer the awkward guest trying to disappear, but something more dangerous, more real. His eyes found hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. Mira had stopped pacing. Now she studied Jinu like he was a tactical problem to solve, her arms crossed, expression unreadable. "How do you feel?" she asked him directly, cutting through the emotion with characteristic bluntness. "Emotionally, about being alive again, about what Rumi risked for you." Jinu didn't flinch under her scrutiny. Instead, he straightened, meeting Mira's gaze with that same quiet intensity that had made him dangerous as a demon. "Grateful," he said, his voice low and steady. "Terrified. Completely in love with someone who's far too good for me." He paused, and when he continued, there was steel in his voice. "I know this puts everyone at risk. If I could go back and stop her from doing this, I probably would. Because she deserves better than to be punished for saving me." "But you can't go back," Mira said flatly. "No," Jinu admitted. "I can't." Something passed between them. An understanding, maybe. A recognition of what it meant to make impossible choices. Zoey sank back onto the couch, her dramatic energy draining into something more genuine, more frightened. "This is so messed up," she whispered, head in her hands. "This is so messed up." Rumi moved to sit beside her, guilt twisting in her chest. These were her best friends, her family, and she'd dragged them into this nightmare. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you right away," she said quietly. "I'm sorry I lied. You deserve to know. I was just scared." Zoey looked up, her eyes red-rimmed but sharp. "Scared we wouldn't understand?" she asked. "Or scared we'd turn you in?" "Maybe both," Rumi admitted. "I wasn't thinking clearly. I just knew I couldn't lose him, and once I brought him back, I couldn't risk losing him again." Mira stopped her pacing and turned to face them all. When she spoke, her voice was pure tactics. "Does anyone else know?" "No one," Rumi said firmly. "Just us?" "And his demon powers?" Mira pressed. "Are they gone? Is he fully human now?" Jinu nodded. "Completely human, no demonic energy, no supernatural abilities. I'm just..." He paused, something almost vulnerable crossing his features. "Regular." Mira's eyes narrowed as she processed this information. Rumi could practically see the gears turning in her head, calculating angles and possibilities. "That's actually good," she said finally. "Means he won't register on hunter detection systems. As long as no one recognizes him, he could theoretically just be a normal person. A tiny spark of hope flickered in Rumi's chest. I'm not saying anything yet, Mira added sharply, resuming her pacing. I'm thinking tactically. There's a difference. Zoey looked between all of them, and Rumi could see the war happening behind her eyes. Duty versus loyalty, rules versus love. We should report this, Zoey said, but her voice wavered. It's what we're supposed to do as hunters. But, Rumi prompted gently. Fresh tears spilled over, but when Zoey spoke, her voice was stronger than expected. But you're my best friend, and Jinu did save all of us. And the council... She trailed off, looking to Mira. The council is merciless, Mira supplied, stopping to look at them seriously. If they find out, they won't care about context. They'll just see a hunter who broke the most sacred laws. They'll execute Jinu and imprison Rumi. Maybe worse. The weight of those words settled over the room like a suffocating blanket. So what do we do? Zoey asked, looking between her friends helplessly. Mira was quiet for a long moment. Rumi watched her friend's face, seeing the internal battle play out. The rules they'd sworn to uphold versus the family they'd chosen to protect. Finally, Mira looked up, and there was steel in her eyes. We protect her, she said firmly. Both of them. Rumi's breath caught. I'm not saying I approve, Mira continued, holding up a hand. I'm not saying it wasn't reckless and dangerous and completely insane, but you're our sister, Rumi. And if the council finds out, they won't just punish you. They'll execute Jinu. Again. She turned to face him directly. And honestly, the world's better with him in it. Zoey gasped, but then something shifted in her expression. The drama student facade dropped away, revealing the sharp, strategic mind underneath. The same mind that could hack security systems and forge documents. Okay, she said, standing up with sudden purpose. If we're doing this, we're doing it smart. Jinu needs a real identity. Documentation, backstory, everything. The transformation was startling. One moment she'd been in tears. The next she was all business. I can handle that, she continued, already pulling out her phone. My brother works in records. He owes me a favor. Can you actually get legitimate documents? Rumi asked, hope and disbelief warring in her chest. Zoey gave her a look that was pure calculation. Legally questionable, but functionally perfect? Absolutely. She started typing rapidly on her phone. If I'm already committing treason by hiding a resurrected demon, what's a little identity fraud on top of that? Zoey, Mira's voice held a warning. I'm serious. Zoey looked up, and there was no drama in her expression now. Just cold, hard determination. We're already in this. Might as well do it right. Mira pulled out her phone, all business now. Here's how this works. Zoey handles documentation. I'll handle cover story and training. Rumi... She looked at her friend seriously. You need to act normal. No more spacing out at practice. If people start asking questions, this whole thing falls apart. I can do that, Rumi said firmly. And Jinu stays hidden until we have everything in place. Mira continued. No one sees him. No one knows he exists. Clear? Crystal clear, Jinu said, his voice carrying that quiet authority that made it clear he wasn't someone to underestimate, human or not. Good. Mira checked her watch with military precision. Zoey, how long for the documents? A week? Maybe 2 if we want them perfect. Zoey was already typing. We should give him a job history too. Former entertainment trainee who left due to anxiety. Explains why he knows about performing. Smart, Mira admitted. And coming from her, that was high praise. What about his living situation? Rumi asked. The thought of Jinu leaving already made her chest ache, but she knew it was necessary. Once the documents are ready, we find him his own place, Mira said. Small, cheap, not connected to any of us. He needs to exist independently. Rumi's heart sank, but she knew Mira was right. Jinu's hand found hers, squeezing gently. The gesture was simple, but it steadied her. For now, he stays here, Mira continued, out of sight. I'll be the perfect invisible roommate, Jinu promised, and despite everything, there was a hint of dark humor in his voice that reminded Rumi exactly why she'd fallen for him. Mira looked at Rumi, her expression softening fractionally. We should go. The longer we stay, the more suspicious it looks. Zoey grabbed her bag, then paused at the door. The dramatic persona slipped back into place, but now Rumi could see it for what it was. Armor, protection, a way to hide how brilliant and capable she really was. We've got your back, Zoey said. And despite the theatrical delivery, the words were solid as stone. Don't make us regret it. After they left, Jinu pulled Rumi into his arms. She breathed him in. Alive, real, here. Your friends are terrifying, he murmured against her hair. I know, Rumi said, smiling against his chest. Aren't they wonderful? The next few days established a strange new routine. Jinu stayed hidden while Rumi went to practice. Mira kept suspicions at bay with casual explanations. And Zoey worked on the documentation with the focus of someone who'd found their true calling. When Zoey burst into Rumi's apartment one evening, she was practically vibrating with excitement. Park Jinu, age 24, born in Busan, former idol trainee who left the industry due to anxiety, now pursuing music production at university. She pulled up her tablet triumphantly. I've created a whole digital footprint. Social media accounts inactive for 6 months, old posts from his trainee days, even photos. Where did you get photos? Rumi asked, impressed and slightly alarmed. Zoey's smile was pure mischief. I used old Saja Boy's practice footage, edited to look less demonic and more like regular trainee shots. Bad quality makes it look like old phone pictures. Untraceable. That's genius, Mira admitted, examining the work. I know, Zoey said simply, her dramatic persona nowhere in sight. This was the real Zoey. Brilliant, capable, dangerous in her own way. For the next 3 hours, they drilled Jinu on his new life. Zoey made it engaging with props and scenarios. Mira made it tactical with rapid-fire questions. Where did you go to school? Mira demanded. Busan Arts High School. Graduated 3 years ago. Favorite teacher? Mr. Kim, who taught music theory. Why did you leave the trainee program? The pressure became too much. I developed severe anxiety and decided my mental health was more important than fame. Mira made a note, satisfied. They continued until late into the night. By the end, Jinu could recite his entire fabricated life without hesitation. He'd transformed from a 400-year-old demon into Park Jinu. Former trainee, current music student. The reinvention was complete. 1 week later, Zoey arrived with a manila envelope. Park Jinu, legitimate human person, she announced, pulling out official documents with a flourish. Birth certificate, government ID, school records, medical history. Everything someone needed to exist in the modern world. Jinu stared at the documents like they were miracles. I'm real, he said quietly. Legally real. As real as identity fraud can make you, Zoey said, but there was pride in her voice. Which is pretty damn real. Mira examined everything with her usual thoroughness. These are good, really good. I know, Zoey said simply. But then Mira's phone buzzed. Her expression changed immediately, going cold and focused. We have a problem. The room temperature seemed to drop. The council is doing random apartment inspections, Mira said, showing them the official notice. Looking for unauthorized magical items. They detected unusual magical energy signatures in this district. The resurrection spell. They detected the resurrection spell. Rumi felt the blood drain from her face. When? She managed. They started yesterday, working alphabetically. Mira checked her phone. They'll hit your building in about 3 days. Zoey's dramatic persona snapped back into place, but now Rumi could see it was a coping mechanism. 3 days? She gasped. What are we supposed to do? But even as she panicked, Rumi could see her mind working, already calculating solutions. He's human now, Mira said calmly. No demonic energy? Detectors won't pick him up. But they'll pick up her. Zoey pointed at Rumi. She performed the spell. What if there's residual magic? I burned everything, Rumi said quickly. The candles, the components, everything. There shouldn't be evidence. Mira's eyes gleamed with tactical thinking. We get Jinu out of here, somewhere they've already checked. Understanding dawned on Zoe's face. They never check the same place twice in one sweep. She looked between them. My apartment was inspected this morning. Mira's yesterday. Jinu stays with Zoe, Mira decided. I'll monitor the inspection schedule and cover for Rumi. They moved Jinu that night, dressed in dark clothes with his face hidden. The walk to Zoe's apartment was tense. Every shadow a potential threat, every sound a possible disaster. But they made it. The next 3 days were torture for Rumi. She went to practice, came home to an empty apartment, tried to act normal while terror gnawed at her insides. Zoe sent updates that kept her sane. Day 1, teaching Jinu about Netflix. He's adorably horrified by modern entertainment options. Day 2, introduced him to online shopping. Had to confiscate my credit card before he bought half the internet. Day 3, he beat me at video games. I'm both impressed and personally offended. On the morning of the inspection, Rumi had scrubbed her apartment until it gleamed. Every trace of Jinu was gone. Every spare toothbrush, every piece of clothing, every indication that someone else had been living there. 2 stern council officials arrived with detection devices. They swept through her small apartment methodically, their equipment beeping and whirring. Rumi watched with her heart in her throat as they scanned every corner. Her bookshelf, her closet, her bed. Any recent spell work? The older inspector asked. The lie came easily now. Just standard practice spells, training exercises. The inspector made a note. Her partner returned from the bedroom. All clear. No unauthorized magical items or forbidden spell activity. Rumi could have collapsed with relief. After they left, she slid down the door and let out a shaky breath. Her phone buzzed immediately. Mira. Status? Rumi. All clear. They didn't find anything. Zoe. Oh, thank God, I was so stressed I ate an entire bag of chips. Jinu. You're okay? Rumi. I'm okay. We're okay. We did it. That evening, they gathered at Zoe's apartment to celebrate their victory. We survived, Zoe announced, her dramatic energy back in full force. But Rumi could see the sharp intelligence underneath, the mind that had orchestrated their escape. We didn't get away with anything yet, Mira warned, but even she accepted a glass of sparkling cider. They ate too much food. Mira had insisted on ordering a feast worthy of their survival, and laughed until their sides hurt. The fear that had been hanging over them for days finally lifted. When Mira and Zoe finally left, Zoe pulled Rumi into a tight hug. We did good, didn't we? She said quietly, all pretense gone. We actually pulled this off. We did, Rumi confirmed. I'm proud of us, Zoe continued. Even though we broke a bunch of laws, but we saved him. That counts for something. It counts for everything, Rumi said, her throat tight. They held each other for a long moment. 3 friends who had risked everything for love and loyalty. 2 weeks later, Jinu moved into his own apartment. It was a tiny studio across the city, far enough to avoid suspicion, close enough that Rumi could visit. They spent the afternoon setting it up together. Zoe provided snacks and commentary. Mira provided tools and competence. Rumi provided moral support. By evening, it actually looked like someone lived there. Your very own place, Zoe said, setting a cactus on the windowsill. Your very own legally questionable but functionally legitimate life. Jinu looked around at the furniture they'd assembled, the books they'd chosen, the photos on the walls. Thank you, he said quietly. All of you for giving me this. A life. A chance. Later, after Mira and Zoe had left, Rumi and Jinu stood alone in his new apartment. How does it feel? She asked. Having your own place? Strange, Jinu admitted. He walked over to her, and there it was again. That dangerous grace that had made him so compelling as a demon, now tempered with something softer, something human. Good strange, real strange. He pulled her close. But also a little lonely. I got used to falling asleep next to you. I'm going to miss that too, Rumi said softly. We'll see each other all the time, she promised. It'll be like normal dating. Jinu's smile was slow and devastating. Is any part of our relationship normal? Not even a little bit. Good, he said, and kissed her in a way that reminded her exactly why she'd broken every rule to bring him back. 3 months passed. 3 months of carefully maintained normalcy. Jinu attended classes and made friends. Rumi continued her demon hunter duties. They saw each other several times a week. Coffee dates, movie nights, the mundane, beautiful routine of normal life. Life had settled into a rhythm. Then Rumi's phone rang. Unknown number. Hunter Rumi? This is Council Liaison Park. We need you to come to headquarters immediately. Rumi's blood turned to ice. Within the hour, they were all gathered at Zoey's apartment. Rumi, Mira, Zoey, and Jinu. There's chatter, Zoey said, her laptop open. All business now, no dramatics. About resurrection magic. Someone claims they saw unusual magical signatures 3 months ago. The council is reopening the investigation. The room went silent. How much do they know? Mira asked immediately. Not much yet, Zoey said. But they're being thorough, cross-referencing magical signatures with location data, looking at anyone who had access to forbidden texts. My mother's collection, Rumi breathed. Jinu stood up, and there was something almost dangerous in his movement, a reminder that, human or not, he'd once been powerful enough to terrify demons. Then I turned myself in. Tell them I found a way back on my own. They'll never believe that, Mira said bluntly. Then we run, Jinu said, his voice hard. Rumi and I disappear. No, Rumi said firmly. Everyone looked at her. We're not running. We're not hiding. We face this. Rumi, Jinu started. I'm not letting you sacrifice yourself again, she interrupted. And I'm not running from what I did. I brought you back. I'd do it again. Then we fight. Mira cut in, her expression fierce. We don't just roll over. We prepare. We strategize. They have suspicions, Zoey added, her sharp mind cutting through the panic. Not proof. If they had proof, they would have arrested Rumi already. Exactly, Mira said, which means we can still control this narrative. Her eyes gleamed with tactical precision. You go to that meeting. You answer their questions. Honestly, mostly. You had access to your mother's books, yes. You studied them, yes. But you never performed forbidden magic. The signature they detected could be from anywhere. This is a big city. And Jinu doesn't exist, she continued. Not in their world. Park Jinu is a regular human, a music student, no connection to demon hunters, no reason for them to ever connect him to anything. Unless someone recognizes him, Jinu pointed out. You're human now, Zoey reminded him, her voice steady. Different energy signature? Different appearance without the demonic aura. And everyone thinks the demon Jinu is dead. People don't expect to see dead people walking around campus. Mira looked at Rumi seriously. You stay calm. Answer truthfully where you can, vaguely where you can't. Don't volunteer information. Can you do that? Rumi thought about everything they'd already survived. The resurrection, the hiding, the constant fear. Yes, she said with more confidence than she felt. I can do that. Zoey grabbed her hands, and for once there was no drama in her expression, just fierce, unwavering loyalty. You can do this. You're strong and smart, and you face down actual demons. Some council bureaucrats are nothing. Some council bureaucrats who could execute me, Rumi pointed out. Then don't let them, Mira said simply. The council headquarters loomed before her, all glass and steel and barely concealed power. Rumi walked through those doors alone, forcing herself to breathe, to stay calm. 3 council members waited in a conference room on the 10th floor. Hunter Rumi, thank you for coming. The questioning began. They asked about her mother's texts, about her movements 3 months ago. about the unusual magical signatures detected in the Eastern District. Rumi answered everything carefully, truthfully where possible, vaguely where necessary. I study forbidden magic theory to better understand what we're fighting against, she said evenly. But I've never attempted any forbidden spells. That's a line I won't cross. The lie tasted like ash in her mouth, but her voice stayed steady. We have energy signatures placing you near the old concert hall at 2 in the morning, one council member said. I train in that area sometimes, Rumi replied, keeping her expression neutral. The abandoned buildings make good practice spaces. Hunters keep odd hours. You know that. They pushed, they probed, they tried different angles, but Rumi held firm. Finally, after 30 minutes, the lead investigator closed her folder. Thank you for your cooperation, Hunter Rumi. If you remember anything at all, contact us immediately. Of course, Rumi said, standing on shaking legs. She walked out of the council headquarters, forcing herself to maintain composure until she was safely in her car. Then she let out a shaky breath and texted the group. I'm out. They don't know anything concrete. When Rumi arrived at Zoe's apartment, Jinu pulled her into his arms the moment she walked through the door. Are you okay? He asked, his voice rough with worry. Really okay? I'm fine, Rumi assured him. They don't know anything. They're fishing. She recounted the entire interrogation. Mira listened with tactical precision. Zoe's brilliant mind worked through the angles. They think you might have witnessed something, not done something, Mira concluded. That's good. Means their investigation is going in the wrong direction. So we're okay? Jinu asked carefully. We're okay, Mira confirmed, as long as we stay smart. The relief in the room was palpable. Can we just acknowledge that Rumi is a total badass? Zoe said, her dramatic energy returning. She just got interrogated by the council and didn't break. I was definitely terrified, Rumi admitted, but you didn't show it. That's what matters. They ordered food. Too much food because Mira insisted that surviving council interrogation deserved a proper feast. Korean fried chicken, japchae, dumplings, tteokbokki. We're celebrating not getting arrested, Mira said seriously. That deserves quality food. They ate and laughed and let the tension finally drain away. Later, when Mira and Zoe prepared to leave, they shared a group hug in Zoe's chaotic living room. We're family, Zoe said firmly, all pretense gone. That's what family does. We protect each other. All the way, Mira agreed quietly. After they left, Jinu walked Rumi to her car. Your friends are incredible, he said, leaning against her car with that dangerous grace that still made her heart race. I know, Rumi agreed. He cupped her face gently, and his next words were soft but intense. I love you. My impossible, reckless, amazing girl who brought me back from death. I love you too, Rumi whispered back. My demon boy who became human just to stay with me. Saturday arrived bright and clear. Rumi changed outfits 4 times before settling on a yellow sundress. Their first real public date as a normal couple. She met Jinu at the Riverside Cafe at 2 in the afternoon. When he saw her, his face lit up in a way that made her heart skip. He stood as she approached, looking unfairly handsome in a simple white button-down and jeans. Still dangerous, still compelling, but now choosing to be gentle. Hi, he said, a little breathless. Hi yourself. They sat across from each other with the river sparkling behind them, other couples and students chattering around them. Normal. They looked completely normal. This is weird, right? Jinu said. Being out in public like this? So weird, Rumi agreed, but also really nice. They ordered food and spent the afternoon talking about normal things. His music production class, her latest training session, the mundane, beautiful details that made up a real life. Can I tell you something? Jinu said as they shared dessert. Always. His expression grew serious. Intense in that way that reminded her exactly why she'd fallen for him. I spent 400 years as a demon thinking I'd lost my chance at this. At a normal life, normal happiness. He squeezed her hand. And then you happened. You impossible, stubborn, beautiful person who refused to let me stay dead. Jinu, let me finish, he said gently. I don't just love you because you brought me back. I love you because you saw something in me worth saving when I didn't see it myself. You gave me not just life, but a reason to live. Rumi's eyes were definitely watering. You're going to make me cry in public. Sorry, Jinu said, but he was smiling. I just needed you to know. This life, this moment, this perfectly normal date, it's everything I never thought I'd have. And it's all because you were brave enough to break the rules. Well, Rumi said, blinking back tears, some rules are worth breaking. They finished their dessert and walked along the riverside as the sun began to set. Life happened all around them. Normal, beautiful, ordinary life. And they were part of it. Take a picture with me? Rumi asked suddenly. Really? Really, I want to remember this. Jinu pulled her close and she captured them both. The river golden behind them, their faces close together, both of them smiling like they'd discovered the secret to happiness. Send me those, Jinu said. I want everyone to know I'm the luckiest person alive. Rumi kissed him right there on the riverside path, not hiding, not afraid, just living. When they pulled apart, Jinu kept his arms around her. Thank you, he said softly, for this, for everything, for my life. Thank you for coming back, Rumi replied, for staying, for choosing this life with me. Always, Jinu promised. For as long as I have, I'm yours. Forever then, Rumi said firmly, because I'm not letting death take you again. They stayed by the river until the sun fully set, wrapped up in each other. Two people who had fought death and won, who had risked everything for love and somehow come out the other side. The world kept turning. Life would continue with all its complications and challenges. But in that moment, standing by the river with the person she loved, Rumi felt at peace. They'd done it. Against all odds, through forbidden magic and dangerous secrets and the constant threat of discovery. They'd done it. Jinu was alive. They were together. They had friends who would protect them and a future to build. And really, what more could anyone ask for? As the last light faded from the sky, Jinu's voice was soft but certain. Move in with me. Rumi's heart skipped. Move in with me, he repeated, taking both her hands. We don't have to hide anymore. Wake up next to each other every morning. Fall asleep together every night. Build a real life together. His eyes held that same intensity that had made him dangerous as a demon, now focused entirely on loving her. I know it's fast. Or maybe it's not, considering we've already died and been resurrected and committed multiple crimes together. He smiled, nervous and hopeful. But I love you. I want to build a life with you. What do you say? Rumi looked at him. This impossible person who had come back from death, who loved her enough to give up everything, who made her laugh and challenged her and felt like home. Yes, she said simply. Of course, yes. Jinu's face broke into the brightest smile she'd ever seen. He picked her up and spun her around, both of them laughing. Really? He asked when he set her down. Really, Rumi confirmed. Let's build a life together. A real one. The most normal, boring, perfect life, Jinu promised. Well, maybe not too boring. Maybe not too boring, he agreed, kissing her. And as they stood there under the stars, Rumi thought about the journey that had brought them here. The forbidden spell, the terror of discovery, the loyalty of friends, the slow, careful building of a new life from impossible circumstances. It had been reckless and dangerous and completely insane. And she wouldn't change a single moment of it. Because some people were worth breaking every rule for. Some love was worth risking everything. And some stories didn't end with death. They resurrected. And they lived. Happily. Ever after. Thank you for listening to this story of love, magic, and the family we choose. If you enjoyed Rumi and Jinu's journey, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me your favorite moment. Until next time, remember, some rules are worth breaking for the people you love.